Edge at 11 starts now.
Tonight on The Edge, the search is over. The man wanted for a mass shooting in Maine has been found dead.
It appears the suspect, wanted for killing 18 people, ended his life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The killer's body was found this evening in a wooded area near a river in the town of Lisbon, which is just outside of Lewiston. This comes as authorities release the names of the 18 people who lost their lives. It includes 16 males and 2 females. They range in age from 14 to 76.
Also tonight, 1 down, 2 to go. It appears the UAW is making progress with GM and Stellantis as the strike begins its 7th week. As
Fox 2's Dave Kinchin reports, the numbers, they're looking similar to the tentative Ford deal.
It's really a tough fight. It's really a tough fight.
Workers at Sterling Heights Assembly have only been on the picket line for a few days in one of the UAW's latest hits to Stellantis. But many here say they are more than encouraged by the tentative agreement the union made with Ford earlier this week, setting wage increases at 25%. And sources familiar with the talks say both GM and Stellantis are putting the same kind of money on the table.
I like the 25% if there's a good signing bonus with it and we don't have to pay for insurance and all those good things like they were adding in that contract. Yes, I think it's very fair.
Others are optimistic, but still cautious.
I think the 25% is fair, but I feel like we need more language about job security. Because there ain't no point in having 25% if you're not going to have a job in a couple years.
I would expect signings fairly soon for Stellantis and General Motors. I mean, they're very close.
Alan Amici heads up the Center for Automotive Research and says the reports of matched wage offers means all sides are on the same page on other issues, too.
I would expect the COLA offerings are going to be about the same as well as pension or 401k. So I think you're going to have nearly identical compensation packages and agreements between the automakers. So I expect they're going to sign it tonight or tomorrow morning.
Meantime, some workers say they still have a few questions they'd like to see answered.
We need more understanding about the electrical vehicles and rolling TPT overs. And
that's the temps, right?
Yes. Yeah. Because they work just as hard as everybody else, so they deserve stuff too.
So we'll give you a look visually. All big three members at 25%. Of course, that started with that tentative agreement between Ford and the UAW. And when you think about how far all of this has evolved over the last 6 weeks of the strike, the UAW starting out at 46%, coming down to 30, then 25. Certainly a big deal here. But again, no tentative agreements in place just yet between the UAW and Stellantis and GM, but experts say they wouldn't be surprised if that is absolutely imminent. Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
More turmoil at MSU today. Was the first board meeting since board chair Rima Vassar was accused of bullying and unethical conduct.
Brianna Scott was the board member who made those accusations and was very emotional during today's meeting.
You have no idea the stuff that has been said about me this week. And all I wanted to do was stand up for people who don't have a voice because they're so afraid to do what I have done.
Now, there are many issues that led to this breakdown. Scott says Vassar has overstepped her authority, shown unethical behavior, and has flaunted conflicts of interest by appearing in an ad for a private wealth management fund run by a former trustee. And also, she accuses her of flying on planes of private donors to sit courtside at MSU basketball games. Some worry the school's accreditation is at risk.
And if Chairperson Vassar does not resign as chair, the Faculty Senate calls on the Board of Trustees to remove her as chairperson and calls on the governor to begin the process of removing Chairperson Vassar from the Board of Trustees.
Another accusation against Vassar includes the investigation into the leak of Mel Tucker's accuser's name. Scott says Vassar claims to support the investigation, but won't allow investigators to look at her phone.
Turning now to weather. This actually might have been our last day in the 70s for months.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Rube?
Yeah, I'm thinking, as I do the math, I'm thinking until June, maybe? Well, we hope we get 70s before then, but we do have a lot of cold weather to deal with. And the first piece of that cold front's moving in now, Stephanie.
Yeah, for sure. And we do notice some of that colder air in Wisconsin, and we've been seeing those temperatures drop out near the Chicagoland area, too. They're in the upper 40s right now. We're still hanging out in the 60s, though, right now. 68 degrees in Detroit, 48 in Cadillac, 67 in Fort Wayne right now. So numbers out ahead of that front, most certainly a lot warmer than on the back edge of that front. But we're also seeing a few of these showers, maybe a few thunderstorms with this. Nothing necessarily severe, but we could be dealing maybe with a gusty thunderstorm or two as we head through very early this morning, closer to say 3, 4, 5 o'clock to start off our Saturday. Otherwise, we'll see it exit by around 6, 7 o'clock. So I think as we progress deeper into your day, we'll decrease cloud cover. We'll see more sunshine, and our numbers are actually a bit closer to the seasonal high, 55 degrees today. Sun and clouds with temperatures through the afternoon, warming nicely into the middle 50s with partly cloudy skies. Now heading into Sunday, that's when we start to see changes. Our first round of rain heads through. We'll see a little break during the day on Monday, and then during the day on Tuesday, just in time for Halloween. That's usually when we see some of this colder air filter in, and we could maybe see either a light wintry mix, some sleet mixing in from time to time, and we won't rule out a snowflake or two. No accumulation. Sunday, tomorrow, we should see daytime highs in the upper 40s. Below average temperatures stick with us for a bit here. The 7-day forecast shows numbers over the next several days in the 40s. So it is going to remain chilly and at times very much raw. Luckily, by the end of the week, our numbers start to trend slightly warmer with highs in the upper 40s to near 50 through Friday. We should reach the low 50s by Saturday of next weekend with a partly sunny sky. Back to you guys.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. For the second time this week, a man who works for a local school is facing criminal charges for engaging in a relationship with a student.
Yeah, this time the incident took place at Fraser High School, and the allegations, they are disturbing. 25-year-old Robert Lindsay is accused of having a relationship with a 15-year-old girl. Lindsay was one of the managers of the school's auditorium. The allegations include sex in a school storage room and an encounter at her home in Clinton Township. The relationship appears to have started in August.
The victim is essentially in love with him, and at one point he even proposed marriage to her. He was friendly with multiple students, and there's concerns that he had inappropriate contact with those students as well.
Lindsay was denied bond. If convicted, he faces a minimum of 25 years in prison for the 7 counts of criminal sexual misconduct with an underage girl. These charges come after a Farmington High School basketball coach was charged this week for having sexual contact with 2 students.
This individual punched and then stabbed and then, without going into all the details, did horrendous things to this person.
New developments in the murder of Samantha Ginther. The body of the East Point woman was found in a storm drain this week near her home, months after she initially went missing. Today, her own son was charged with her murder. Justin Jackson is accused of killing the 47-year-old in his home using several weapons and then dumping her body.
Mr. Jackson has had a pretty horrible upbringing, including drug addiction, sexual assault, being used in a drugs transaction with his father when he was younger.
Jackson was given a $10 million cash bond. He faces life in prison if convicted.
Also tonight, loved ones gather to remember a young life tragically taken too soon. 7-year-old Deshaun Williams died this week after enduring horrific abuse.
Yeah, these details are so hard to report and talk about. His mom and her boyfriend now facing charges for his murder. Fox News' Camila Miri has more on how Deshaun is being remembered.
But God is going to heal our heart. We don't know how long it's going to take to heal. But I just want to let everybody know Deshaun was a beautiful child.
He loved Spider-Man, you know, and stuff like that. That was his favorite character. He loved Spider-Man and stuff, running, playing just a normal kid.
The fact that Deshaun Williams is gone is hard to comprehend.
I love that boy so dearly. It's messed up he gone. It's hard for me to even talk about it, man, to be honest.
The details of his death, tragic and disturbing. The 7-year-old tortured and killed. Investigators say at the hands of his own mother and her boyfriend. Police were called to their home on Hurlbut on Detroit's east side Sunday morning.
If we would have knew, we most definitely would have stepped in and tried our best to take care of the situation.
We need more love, Father God, and less hate in this world.
Yes, Lord.
Deshaun came to bring us love, Father God.
Yes.
Let us continue to show that love.
Friday night, an emotional goodbye to Deshaun at Piper Park. one of the little boy's favorite places to play.
Father God, we ask these things today that you will give Deshaun the rest that he deserves. Yes, Lord. We thank you, Father God, for releasing him from the pain and torture of this world.
As they reflected on the horror of his death, they also reflected on the joy he brought to others during his short life.
My son, he was a loving boy. He was bright. When he walked in the room, his smile would brighten up your day.
On Detroit's east side, Camille Amiri on The Edge.
People will be remembering Deshaun for a long, long time. Well, huge explosions rocking Gaza as Israel prepares for a ground invasion.
Right now, more than 2 million people are without internet and communication systems. Fox 2's Mike Tobin is in Israel with more on the military's movement.
A massive bombardment of Gaza, and Hamas retaliates with rockets as seen in Sderot, Israel. The Israeli Defense Forces say they're expanding operations inside Gaza with targeted raids using airstrikes, ground forces and drones, attacking Hamas anti-tank missile sites and command centers in central Gaza, their deepest penetration in the nearly 3-week-old conflict. Inside Gaza, more pictures of devastation brought by war as people search for survivors. Despite those strikes, Hamas proved they still have the capability of hitting Israeli cities. Today in Tel Aviv, about 50 miles north of Gaza, a rocket hit an apartment. 3 Israelis were injured. In southern Gaza, the IDF released dramatic video of a raid overnight on a Hamas Navy base that last week attempted an attack into Israel. The base was destroyed. Israel says they also destroyed a series of tunnels under Gaza and claims Hamas is using hospitals to shield an underground terror complex where military commanders hide, including at Shifa Hospital, Gaza's largest medical facility.
Hamas has turned hospitals into command and control centers and hideouts for Hamas terrorists and commanders.
Hamas is also stealing fuel and using it for military purposes, Israel said. The Jewish state has been under international pressure to provide Gaza fuel to power hospitals.
According to the intelligence we have in our hands, there is fuel in hospitals in Gaza. I repeat, there is fuel in hospitals in Gaza, and Hamas is using it for its terror infrastructures.
Israeli leaders say eliminating Hamas is much more complex than just a military operation. The defense minister, Yoav Gallant, says this won't be a matter of weeks, rather months. In southern Israel, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
We're standing up for ourselves first. When we are coming and showing up to this, we're not standing and we're not supporting them. We are part of this.
Back here at home, a candlelight vigil for Palestinians affected by the war. People coming out to Ford Woods Park in Dearborn. Over 7,000 Palestinians have died in Gaza since the beginning of the war.